Hey there gamers, this is Chris Bolts and I'm going to be coming in with a reaction to Dreamcast Guys video. Now, this video is on Chrono Odyssey and you see in the top left corner what his opinion of this game is. Now, my opinion is much closer to his than most that have played this game. I put in about a combined total of about 5 hours into the game as well. And needless to say, probably a lot of his opinion that's going to be going off in here I'm probably going to be agreeing with. I'll probably disagree here and there, but for the most part, I probably will agree. But before I do get into the content, do make sure you like, share, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. All that stuff helps me out. Now, again, I put in about 5 hours, and I think he says he put in the same amount of time as well. So let's go ahead and get right off into it and see what he has to say.
Today we're talking about Chrono Odyssey because I've been playing it, and this game, it's complete false advertising. If you've seen any of the trailers, I've watched for the last, I guess they first showed this in 2023 at a PlayStation showcase as this next-gen, graphically intense MMORPG. Well, I had
Now, as you were seeing that video as it's playing through, and this is back in 2023, this game looks absolutely gorgeous, or at least whatever is on presentation right here looks absolutely gorgeous. That is not what you're going to be getting, as you saw in some of the prior gameplay footage that he was put before this actually came, this Twitter post came up. That it's night and day. The graphics is a complete and utter muddy mess, and I'll clip out some of the gameplay that I put up on my stream yesterday, so you can see the difference here. And by the way, my rig is I have about 32, I think, no, I take that back. I probably have about 64 gigs of RAM. Yeah, I know I got too much. And I got a 3080. So it's not a slouch, but it should be able to still handle a game like this. Let's continue.
a chance to play it. I actually put about 5 hours into it. I think I have 4.5 hours into it so far. The game is a completely busted mess. They're claiming this is coming out in the next couple months. The frame rate doesn't work. The game crashes constantly. It is not fun. From the ground up, the trailers are just fake. The game is just fake. And I want to break it down because
Now, I will say that it is subjective to say that the game is not fun or anything like that, because I was watching Jay the Concepts stream of it yesterday, and that guy was having fun with this game. And there were some parts of the game that were fun. I really liked the initial boss fight that was in this that you do at the beginning of this game. Well, not the starter boss where everyone loses. I'm talking about the next one when you get your first chrono outfit or whatever. That boss fight was fun, and I do like the challenges of that, but getting up there, it leaves a lot to be desired.
actually kind of just baffled about why they even did this beta test. I have never played a beta where instantly, the second I logged in, I went, oh yeah, this game is just a scam. But let me explain, because honestly, this game is so deeply busted and unfinished. I want to pick it apart and explain why. If this even comes out before 2027, if it's even halfway playable, I'll be incredibly shocked. Let me explain. Hi, hope you're having a great day, and if you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now,
and before he gets into that, I 100% agree that this game is undercooked. I actually watched Craze Gaming play the game, and he started playing the game about midnight on the day before the actual beta test opened up. And he was saying the exact same thing, pretty much that this game is not aesthetically pleasing, and there's no way that they can release this game within this year. I'm of the same mindset. This game needs at least a year, maybe two, to really be called a complete game, if you will, because what's being on display right now, calling this a beta, pretty much if you call something a beta, that means that you are really close to release, and you're only wanting to try to work out the minor kinks, minor bugs, things of that nature. This game does not have minor kinks. This game has major bugs. and it needs to be put back in the oven. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. If they release this within the next couple of months, it's going to crash and burn tremendously.
A little bit of background. I do love MMORPGs. They're so fun and addictive, to be honest. Something about the vertical gear scaling, teaming up with people, getting into guilds, doing dungeons, constantly not just helping each other, but having those cool chase items and stuff, right? That constant urge to log in and get stronger. I love that. That's why I have thousands and thousands of hours in World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV and New World to a lesser extent, or Guild Wars 2. This, though, is an action RPG. These are a little bit different than other MMOs you may have played, where instead of just standing there and casting spells, having a world cooldown and stuff, instead it's much more about being active, having a dodge button, having a stamina system. But the combat, the two things they've been hyping up the most by far is how visually impressive it is and how intense the fighting is, both of which completely fall apart. Let's start by talking about those graphics.
Before he gets into the graphics and everything, yes, this game, as you can look at his gameplay right there, it's complete and muddy. And I'll show you what my graphical experience was like when I first played this game. It was just atrocious. One thing I don't understand why developers love turning on motion blur. Motion blur sucks. Don't turn on that shit. In fact, take it out as an option too. I don't know why you guys put that off in there. It was probably cool. It was a nice little gimmick in the beginning and whatnot, but now it is just an eyesore. It induces motion sickness. It doesn't improve the gameplay whatsoever. It's not cool at all. And this game had the motion blur cranked all the way up to 99. I'm like, what the fuck is this shit? And I turned it down to about 29 and everything. And then when I was streaming, one of the people that was watching my stream, he was complaining about it. And I told him, I said, man, it was at 99 when I first started playing. I just put it at 29, but we could turn that shit off completely. I don't know why developers like motion blur. What's so fun about motion blur? When you're outside and everything like that, the only way you're going to get real motion blur is if you keep spinning around in a circle trying to make yourself look dizzy. Other than that, when you turn your head right, you turn your head left, there's really no motion blur there. By the time you've completed your head turn, everything's back to normal. So get the motion blur out of there. Why have that shit in the game? And of course, he's going to talk about the combat too. And yes, the combat, at least when you're not fighting a solo boss, it is janky and it's floaty. It's not, and there's no real good punch or feedback. It's kind of the opposite of what Vindictus is about. The combat in Vindictus was clunky. And that's another MMO RPG that had a beta during the Steam Next Fest. Another Korean developer. But this one right here, oh my God, it's just floaty. And you don't feel like you're hitting your target. But let me just go ahead and let Dreamcast guy go off.
Because already you're probably watching this video and saying, something is deeply, deeply wrong. Because yes, the visuals of this game do not work. I've been walking up a hill and it's just suddenly changing from day to night. I've gone into cities and watched characters instantly disappear. I have had so much of this game just not fundamentally work. But even in the cutscenes, even when you're actually in a pre-rendered cutscene, hey, here it is. Here is how beautiful our game can be. It still just doesn't look right. So our character, all the characters in this MMO are called the Sentinels. Now, essentially, the whole idea is that the world is ending. At the tutorial thing, the world is already completely screwed, and you're part of a group of heroes that are trying to find this time travel pocket watch thing. It's not by accident. They're specifically looking for it so they can rewind time and try to stop this apocalypse from happening. Well, at the beginning of the game, they find it, they rewind time, and here you are waking up with all the other Sentinels, all the other people that I guess rewinded time. So you and the other Sentinels are trying to get strong enough to stop the apocalypse that's happening here in a year, right? I like that idea, but the cutscenes do not look right. Not only do the character models look all funky, there's like a weird ghosting effect. It just looks really, really weird. But I feel like I don't like when a game really tries to champion itself as this super paragon of amazing graphical feasting. The game's performance is pathetic. The game runs at such a bad frame rate, but it's also just such an inconsistent. Some stuff looks halfway decent, some stuff looks terrible, some stuff constantly breaks. Quest icons break constantly. The game just, from the ground up, I am shocked by how poorly each.
And this that scene right there where you see the horse running away. Well, she gets knocked off. My character got knocked off the horse, and then they pushed it back because it makes it seem like you're running towards whatever goal you're going to, but then it pushed you back, and you had to get back on the horse anyway to go ahead and complete the scene, which was odd. It was just completely odd. It was undercooked. But Dreamcast guy is exactly right. Some of the cutscenes were just kind of all janky and all over the place. And the sad thing is Chrono Odyssey has a really good concept. I like the clash of aesthetics where you have the medieval type setting going up against this H.R. Geiger, however you say his last name, alien-esque type vibe. And so it's a really good concept, but it's just not coming together the way they think it should for this game.
And every little tiny speck of this game just does not fit together. But let's talk combat, right? Okay, this is the other big thing, right? You can fight, you can defend the future. Okay, so there are a couple different classes you can play as. This does have a class system like most RPGs, but this one, for the beta, only a couple of I think they said there's 7 total classes. Most of them were completely locked. I wanted to be a caster. I wanted to be like the sorceress, one of the characters you could be as. There was a very intense, in-depth character customization thing. Whatever. I don't care about that. It's a beta. I don't want to spend an hour customizing my face for a game I know I'm not playing for hundreds of hours. I decided to play the warrior style class, the person that uses big, heavy melee weapons. And with this character, I could use all sorts of different stuff. Dual daggers, sword and board, and I went with a big, heavy two-hander. And as soon as I started playing it, I was kind of impressed by there is a spark in the combat that I absolutely think, if this
Yes, this boss fight right here. Let me meet him, and I'm gonna just go ahead and talk over him as he's watching this fight. But this boss fight right here was phenomenal. I like this boss fight. It reminds you of Dark Souls, and you're sitting there. You're trying to figure out the patterns. You're trying to make sure that you're not getting hit because you don't want to suffer damage or anything like that. This was a great fight. And look at the background. Look at the aesthetic here. This is not. I love this. I love this right here. This was probably the most shining moment in this entire game, but it got spoiled because all the shit you got to do getting up to this point is garbage. It's utter garbage. And then one other thing, let me go ahead and pause it right here. And I'm going to go back and let him talk on his experience with this fight. But one other thing that I had a problem with is the potion system. If you use a potion, there is a 1 minute cooldown before you can use the next potion. And then on top of that, your potions are depleting. They don't get refilled at when you die at the boss at your respawn point. You don't get another set of potions. So if you don't have any potions, you're going to be fighting this thing. It's basically going to be the equivalent of Let Me Solo Her fighting Millennia in Elden Ring, because pretty much that guy, I don't think he uses any potions now anymore, because that's how well experienced he is against fighting Millennia. But here, it's like, how can you have that type of cooldown system? A 1 minute cooldown for your potions, and then if you deplete all your potions, you're shit out of luck. Who thought that was a good idea? Who thought that was a good experience? or would be a good experience. They need to lower the cooldown time of the potions, and then they need to give you a flask, a like similar to the Dark Souls games. They give you a flask that permanently fills your life. Now I know it's an MMO RPG and all, and they don't really want you to be able to go in there and just heal whenever you feel like it. Okay, that's fine. Either give them a reasonable cooldown period or give them a flask that has limited uses, and then after that you're SOL during the fight. But none of this stuff where you have a 1 minute cooldown and you have a depleting potion source, and you're forced to have to go and do all kinds of farming in order to get that fill back up. But let me go ahead and rewind it back. I want to hear what he has to say about this fight, because I thought overall the fight was good. I really liked the fight. Let's go back here. Let's go ahead and hear what Dreamcast guy has to say.
There is a spark in the combat that I absolutely think, if this game gets a lot more time in the oven, we're talking years and years in the oven, I do think the combat does have potential. We'll see if they can balance it. The big problem right now is that there really doesn't seem to be a proper way for the AI to interact with you. A lot of times when I'm hitting enemies, they either don't seem to react properly or they're way too fast and aggressive. It feels like a separate team made the enemies than a team that made the players. So because of it, when you're trying to interact with them, it just doesn't quite work. I've had a bunch of my blows where I'm trying to do like a combo and every single hit falls short. It's like, okay, well then why do these combos work? Why am I able to do so much that feels so ineffective? Now, depending on the weapon you choose, by using it, it gives you extra skill points. Now, these are both passive and action. So basically,
okay, so he didn't say anything on that fight. I thought he was going to be talking about the fight, but as far as the combat is concerned, I absolutely agree that sometimes when you're hitting these enemies, they don't know that you're there, and then suddenly, out of nowhere, they'll just swarm you and just put all their focus on 100% on you. And there might be that disconnect there between whoever designed the combat for the player, and then whoever designed the AI in combat for the enemies. But what I can tell you is that during that boss fight, everything seemed to flow real well. It seemed as though they started at say, hey, we want to make this more like Dark Souls when they're doing the boss fight, and then outside of all of that, we want to make this seem more like it's a traditional MMO. And I don't know if I don't feel like it's actually coming together as they think it is. But let me go ahead and let Dreamcast guy continue.
as you level up, like in this case, the two-hander, I got more and more abilities that let me do staggers and stuns and bleeds, but also just passives where my basic hit cost less stamina and also hit a lot harder. The combat, as bad as it sucks, because don't get me wrong, it does suck, I can see a little bit of ingeniousness kind of glimmering through. If this does get a lot more time in the oven, I think that combat is what I'm most curious to see at end game. Seeing a raid full of people, or even a dungeon full of people, all fighting something, that would be pretty awesome, especially with how good it feels when I actually connect. But next up, let's talk about the world itself, because...
And just one more point on combat. They do allow you to switch between two weapons, and it would be really cool if the combat was more like Devil May Cry, where you can switch and chain combos. The combat was more fluid and fast paced as opposed to slow and clunky, with as it is right now. It makes it seem like there's a combination of floatiness and clunkiness to the combat at the same time, and I don't know, it's just not coming together. But I think if they allowed it to be more fast paced, it would be a much more enjoyable experience. But let me go ahead and let Dreamcast guy finish out.
While I was playing this, I wanted to see kind of how crafting worked, how questing worked, how that sense of exploration worked. This game is so busted the game definitely really emphasizes fast travel, of being able to teleport from point to point. The menus just do not work. A bunch of the menus, nothing is labeled. Towns aren't labeled. Fast travel points a lot of times aren't labeled. I could not figure out how to log out. I actually had to force quit. There is so much stuff in the menus that just does not work. And I mean, they're saying, oh, it's a beta, we're still working on stuff. If you expect to release this game here in 5 months, you need to have stuff labeled, brother. But okay.
Yeah, and that's an excuse. If this is a beta, you should, like I said at the beginning of the video, it should pretty much be nearly done, and you're just putting it out there so that you can work out the kinks that are just impacting, that aren't necessarily impacting the overall experience, but they would become frustrating if they were not addressed. This game seemed like it's in the alpha stage. It doesn't seem like it's finished at all. And I think the developer, Cacao Games, I want to say, they need to go back and pull this down post haste. I'm going to go ahead and leave the remainder of the video off in the description. So if you guys want to watch Dreamcast guys commentary without mine being sprinkled here and there in it, you can do that. But yeah, I might play it a few more days or a few more hours. But if this is the final product, I don't see me playing this game long term, even if it is free to play. I think it is free to play. Most RPGs from the MMO RPGs from South Korea are pretty much free to play. But jump down in the comments and let me know what you guys think. Have you guys tried playing Chrono Odyssey? What did you guys think about it? Was your experience negative like mine or like Dreamcast guy? Whatever the case may be, go ahead and let's get a conversation started and going. And make sure you guys do like, share, subscribe, turn on post notifications. And if you watch this video all the way to the end, I really do appreciate your support. And remember, this is Chris Bolt signing off, and I will catch you guys in the next video. You take it easy.